Hi, Elise.
Hi.
How
Thanks.
are you?
Good, good. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for joining me as our new executive director for Northern Valley chapter. We wanted to get to know you, and we have a bunch of questions to ask.
Awesome.
Do you want to get started?
Sure, let's do this.
All right. Okay, first question. What about joining the LA region are you most excited about?
So, I'm in the unique position that I was a board member for this chapter for a while. So, now getting to become a paid colleague is really exciting to actually work for the Red Cross and really now take some of the board ideas and bring them to fruition. We're really looking forward to just taking this to the next level.
Great. I'm happy to hear that. All right, next question. What is your biggest strength and your biggest weakness, if you have one?
I'm in a job interview. My biggest strength, I think, is my ability to network, and not just network, but I'm really good at remembering names and faces and pertinent facts that I should know about people. And then I'm able to cross pollinate across different relationships. So people call me Google because they'll come to me for something and it's like, oh, yeah, I know somebody who does that or whatever. So I think that's my biggest strength. My weakness is something that I've been really working on, and that's work-life balance, especially with the pandemic and working at home. It had made it really hard to just turn off the computer and walk away. So I think I was working longer hours than I ever had, and really got pretty mindful about it, and really started to use meditation and whatnot to just take away the stress and walk away.
Yeah, I hear you on that. Okay. So at the Red Cross, we have what we call mission moments. I'm sure you're familiar with that. And these are experiences that motivate us or inspire us while we're on the job. So, can you share a mission moment that you've experienced either at your previous organization or here at the Red Cross?
Sure. So what's interesting is that while I was on the board of the Red Cross, I also was a volunteer with the Mayor's Crisis Response Team. And that's where we work with people in their darkest moments to provide support. And one of the unique things is that the Red Cross often is showing up to the same scenes that we are. And a couple of months ago, there was a pretty bad apartment fire in Arleta that I was sending responders out to. And at the same time, Barbara Mariscal was also going out to the same site. And it really struck me how fortunate I am to be able to volunteer in two places that are really making a difference in people's lives. And that Barbara and I were able to debrief after and figure out what went on and there were some interesting scenarios, and she and I were able to talk about it. And it just really struck me that the work I'm doing is good work.
Very cool. All right, next question. What organizations have you worked with prior to joining the Red Cross?
So it's very interesting. I started my career in medicine working in ophthalmology. And from there, I ended up working at Blue Cross of California, working in Medicare program development. But I also had the opportunity to help create a volunteer program where seniors were helping seniors. And it was really great to see. I mean, that moments where, homebound people who otherwise would probably be eating, you know, horribly, were having people go out and pick up fresh, healthy food for them so that they could stay healthy. And I did that for a while. And then I got back into ophthalmology, and I stayed in ophthalmology for a long time. And I was working in clinical research and running an optical shop. So it was a lot of different things. And my most recent work was in workforce development, where I worked at JVS SoCal running two healthcare training programs for people who were looking to get back into the workforce, training them as CNAs. So I was working really closely with the Red Cross for that, and then training them for non-clinical careers.
Wow, very cool. And what volunteer work have you done prior to joining the Red Cross?
So I shared a bit about this with our internal team the other day. I started volunteering at a very young age. My family were always volunteers in different facets. I started as a candy striper at Northridge Hospital in junior high, went on to volunteer for some boards, Mount St. Mary's and the California Alliance of Information and Referral Services. Uh, Most recently, I've been volunteering with the Mayor's Crisis Response Team as a senior shift supervisor. So I go out only if it's absolutely necessary, but otherwise I'm the one that coordinates services with LAPD and LA Fire to get responders to scenes. And then the other piece is that my family has a foundation named after my mom, the Elise Levine Foundation, that helps families in the Conejo Valley who have medical crises or other kinds of needs. And we do a 5K, 10K. I don't run it. I'll help with administrative things. And we do a crawfish boil every year. So we're looking forward to getting back to doing those things when the pandemic is over.
Wow, so impressive. So now I'm going to ask you a question that's less interview-ish.
Okay.
What's the best thing that happened to you this month?
Well, of course, it's starting with the Red Cross. It's been really exciting. We've gotten off on a strong footing. We're adding board members, which is one of our big goals. And then moving will be another exciting part of the month. So, but really, joining the Red Cross is probably the most amazing thing, not only of the month, but of the century.
And what's something that recently moved you?
So my last class that I taught for this workforce development, watching people get jobs, helping people get placed in new careers in healthcare, really changing their lives, getting them back on their feet to self-sufficiency. That's just the greatest feeling ever. And then getting feedback from them, the difference that I made for them, which really the work was all theirs. I just was there to help guide them.
All right. Okay, so now what about your favorite movie about LA? Do you have a favorite movie about LA?
About LA. So it's not, it's placed in LA, so there's a lot of familiar landmarks. But one of my favorite movies of all time is The Big Lebowski.
Ah, I love that one. So good. And what makes you laugh no matter what?
Lately, TikTok. I have become one of those older adult TikTok fanatics, and I literally get in bed, and the next thing I know, it's 2 hours later, and I am just rolling in the bed laughing at all these funny videos.
It is funny. And what's your favorite Mexican dish?
Oh, everything. No. I love carnitas in any way, shape, or form. And my favorite go-to, like breakfasty kind of thing, would be chili rellenos.
That's my favorite. Very good.
We'll have to go out for Mexican sometime.
I know. Good selection. And what book did you read most recently?
So I am reading right now the 20th anniversary edition of Servant Leadership by Robert Greenleaf. I've been a big fan of Servant Leadership, and this anniversary edition came out, and I'm like, let's read this one again. My other go-to book that I'm constantly rereading is The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz.
I love that too. We have a lot in common. It's a good one. And what is your favorite musician, or who's your favorite musician or musical group?
I had the good fortune. I went back to college as an adult, and I had a professor at Mount St. Mary's University who taught world music, and I took 2 different semesters of it. So it really opened my eyes. I love everything from, banda and bachata to, Indian Sufi music. But like, I am a rap aficionado, old school rap, but then also the new stuff. So you will often find me driving around blasting Cardi B or Megan Thee Stallion and rapping along with them.
I love that. Wow, impressive. Do you have a favorite board game or card game?
So my partner's niece and nephew taught me Uno. I was never, because I don't have children. So Uno became really fun, but now I play it on my iPad. So I'm not officially holding the cards, but I'm playing Uno online and I love it.
Okay. What about exercise? You doing any of that? And do you have a favorite?
I have a recumbent bike at home and need to use it more. And then I also have a little rebounder trampoline that, I'll put Bravo on and try and watch Real Housewives and jump.
Yep, that's a good. Yeah, I'm gonna try that. I love that. And what advice would you give your childhood self?
There's a lot of coulda, woulda, shouldas that you go back and you think about. But honestly, I love the way my life has ended up. But I was not a fan of school, and I did not do great in school, although I should have. So I don't. If I thought about it, I would say I wish I would have gone to college right out of high school, but I was too busy working. But I'm glad that I went back as an adult because, I graduated summa cum laude. I did really good. I really loved it. And there were no distractions other than work, but it wasn't like sorority, fraternity, parties. So part of me wishes I would have stayed in school right after high school, but part of me is happy the path that I ended up on.
Sounds like it. And as a child, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Wanted to be a doctor. However, there's this little small problem about bodily fluids that I can't deal with. It's hard to be a doctor if you don't want to see things. I'm okay with blood, but the other stuff, it just wasn't compatible. So I ended up working in healthcare. So I play a doctor on TV, so people come to me with their medical questions and I usually can answer them, but I don't have the MD after my name.
And okay, what city do you wish to visit?
I would like to go back to Jerusalem. I went to Israel in my early 20s, but now I'd really like to go back and spend some more time there.
Would that be your perfect trip? Where would you go for your
No,
perfect
that's
trip?
not my perfect trip. My perfect trip is, and I've done it once, it's a cruise throughout the Caribbean, and every place we stop, I get off the boat and run and go snorkel. So I
Ah,
like cruises. I don't like sitting on the beach. It's sandy, it's messy, but I like to get off the boat and jump in the ocean.
nice. So, vacation's good, but how do you manage stress?
Ah, I have been a devotee of meditation for quite some time. I meditate in the morning and in the evening, breathing, just um, I'm a big video game player on my iPad. So when I need to just turn it off, I, grab the iPad and put some music on and play Candy Crush for a while.
I love that too. And what is one thing that you've learned the hard way?
Hitting reply all when you should have just hit reply. You get those emails and you want to just tell one person something, and I have hit reply all, and that was something that you have to learn how to acknowledge your mistakes and your messes and your goofs and not do it again.
Yeah. And what does creativity mean to you?
It's interesting. I just made a note of this morning. I was on LinkedIn, and I don't know if you're familiar with Simon Sinek. He's the guy who he says, "What's your why?" And I saw him speak at a meeting many years ago before he became super famous. But he put this morning, the drive for order interrupts the beautiful chaos needed for creativity to thrive. And I really
Mm.
think that with creativity, you have to be able to suspend all beliefs or disbeliefs and be able to come into a space and just look for the solution.
Oh, I love that. That's great. What is one goal you're determined to achieve in your lifetime?
Um, I partially did it. I got my master's in gerontology. I started college at 33 and I graduated with my master's at 40. There was a little bit of a break,
Wow.
but I'm continuously learning. I recently became the certified life and happiness coach. I'm always into certifications and more learning. If I had the time to just go to law school just because, I probably would. But just continuously learning.
That's cool. So, what is something you wish you were better at?
I'm very non-musical. Actually, that's not true. I do play like Middle Eastern drums, but that's because nobody can really hear if you mess up the beat. But I would love to like know how to play piano or guitar, or a stringed kind of instrument, maybe.
Yeah. And which do you prefer, the beach or the mountains?
The beach for sure.
I love it.
It's not on the sand, but the beach.
And one last question for you. What is the one thing you love about LA?
The diversity, you know, the fact that you could eat any kind of food you want within a short drive. You can engage with different kind of communities within a short drive. I think that's just the most interesting part, that everybody doesn't look the same, everybody doesn't speak the same language, and you have the opportunity to learn about all different kinds of people.
Yeah, thank you. Well, thank you so much for
You.
sharing your story and letting us ask you all these questions. We got to know you a lot better, and I really look forward to working with you. We have so much in common. I didn't realize, but
Maybe we'll have to go out for chili rellenos.
yes, absolutely. All right. Well, thank
Thank,
you, Elise.
thank you so much. Talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.